Coming up next on NewsDepth, we have some tips to make getting your flu shot easier. Inflation has raised the prices of this year's pumpkin crop. Football is back. We speak with inspiring high school football players. And Mary shares about Ohio's early female athletes. NewsDepth is now. It's officially flu season, and that comes with extra complications thanks to the coronavirus. Hello, everybody. I'm Rick Jackson. Thank you for joining us. Health officials say that a positive result of social distancing and masking during the COVID pandemic is that flu nearly disappeared in the U.S. That means most people haven't been exposed to the virus in 2 years, leading to lower immunity. Now, there are so many sick kids being admitted to Children's Hospital of Orange County in California that doctors there are starting to sound the alarm to parents. Michelle Gile reports.
It's just the triple whammy is what we're calling it.
There are so many sick kids being admitted at Children's Hospital of Orange County, the emergency department here had to expand. In fact, a record was set on Monday. 418 patients came through the ED, which has never happened before.
So many patients everywhere. We have never seen anything like this. In fact, I started at CHOC 35 years ago. I've not ever seen so many patients, even during our busiest times in the winter.
Nurses say the majority of these young patients are battling the flu, the respiratory virus RSV, and COVID. 2-year-old Anthony Vasquez left CHOC this afternoon after being checked out for pneumonia.
It's a high cough, like I wouldn't say smoker's cough, but it's like a cough where it's like it just keeps going and going. It wouldn't stop.
Flu cases are on the rise. The season is expected to be a bad one. At Children's Hospital of Orange County, there are 120 cases compared to none last year at this same time when kids weren't in school.
There wasn't any flu last year. All the kids have gone back to school. We have COVID now. We have flu. They didn't have RSV last year either. And so some of those kids, they didn't get the immunity that they normally get in school with the RSV and flu. And now we're seeing that.
The real flu season won't hit us until a couple months from now, where we get the big bump.
Dr. Jim Keeney runs the emergency services at Providence Mission Hospital. It takes a few weeks for immunity to build up after getting a flu shot, so the doctor says now is the time. The healthcare system is stretched thin.
The whole health system right now is just frazzled, recovering from COVID, nursing shortages, and so we all are ready for the next big battle.
Thank you, Michelle. Flu activity in the United States usually starts to increase in October, then peaks between December and February. Health experts say the best way to protect yourself from getting severely sick is to get vaccinated. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has tips on how to make the process of getting all the recommended fall vaccinations easier.
It's that time of year again when viruses tend to ramp up.
It's definitely vaccine season right now.
The two most recommended to get before fall gets in full swing: an updated COVID-19 booster and a flu shot.
This year it's going to be even more important to do both.
That's because the flu season is expected to be more severe this year. Coupled with COVID-19, that could mean crowded hospitals. Dr. Barbara Bauer with the Ohio State's Wexner Medical Center says you can make the process of getting all those shots easier by stacking vaccines.
Really, there's no data to show that if you get them all on the same day, that's going to make you feel worse, or, it's going to cause you more side effects because you got 2 or 3 shots instead of just 1.
Bauer says to also take time to rest. Don't be afraid to give yourself a little break after getting fall vaccines, and have over-the-counter pain medication on hand that can help relieve any discomfort. Finally, start early so your body has time to build up a defense to the viruses.
Go ahead and get them, between now and absolutely, I would say no later than the first week of November.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Thanks, Mandy. Getting a flu or COVID vaccine is a decision that falls on individuals and families, so having the latest information on the vaccines is important. Pfizer says early clinical data shows its updated COVID vaccine substantially increases antibody responses against 2 major Omicron subvariants. Compared to the original vaccine, the latest Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine targets the original strain as well as subvariants BA4 and BA5. The company said it tested 900 people and saw a significant antibody response 1 week after receiving the updated vaccine. The updated vaccine has so far been administered in the U.S. under emergency use authorization. The new data will be used to seek full approval. Okay, time to switch gears. We've been hearing the word inflation a lot lately. Inflation means a general increase in prices and a decrease in the purchasing power of your money. An easy way to remember that, it comes from the word inflate, like how you inflate a balloon. And purchasing power, that refers to the ability to buy goods and services. The new inflation data shows something you already know: high prices are hitting us hard. The Bureau of Labor Statistics shows people are struggling with high prices, despite lower gas costs and despite the attempt from the Federal Reserve to tame inflation. Overall consumer prices, an important measure of inflation, jumped by 0.4% in September, which was more than economists expected, and up by 8.2% from the year before. As these numbers tick up, there is concern the Federal Reserve will continue with historic rate hikes. Isabel Rosales explains what this means for your wallet.
The Labor Department reporting a larger than expected increase Wednesday in the Producer Price Index. The report gauges prices paid for goods and services before they reach you, the consumer. Energy was up a little under 1% in September. Food prices jumped 1.2%. And services are up about 0.5%. While these increases represent the wholesale prices, they are likely to be passed on to the consumers in the form of higher grocery prices.
Historical experience suggests that the kind of inflation we have rarely returns to normal levels, to target levels of around 2% without some kind of recession.
The fight to bring down decades-high inflation has become a major concern for the Federal Reserve. The central bank has been hiking interest rates at an unprecedented pace in an effort to cool down the economy. But there are concerns that it's happening too fast and could soon lead to a recession.
No. Look, they've been saying this now every 6 months they say this.
President Joe Biden remains confident in the economy.
I don't think there will be a recession. If it is, it'll be a very slight recession.
Thank you, Isabel. Pumpkin season's in full swing, but those gourds might be weighing on your wallet. Like other produce, people are seeing the prices of pumpkins rise. Ophelia Young reports it's especially bad in Las Vegas because of the extreme weather that impacted that region in August and September.
The average pumpkin weighs about 15 pounds, like this guy right here. So he would have cost about $8 last year. This year he cost about $12. That's a 50% increase. And the director here at Gilcrease Orchard blames higher costs of labor as well as that heat wave back in September that we all remember. A little more spice in your pumpkin's price.
I did notice that there was a few smaller ones and only a couple of real big ones.
But to buyers, it's still everything nice.
$7.75. It's worth it. It's worth it.
They didn't think twice.
If you do that kind of thing when you're having fun, then it's not fun. So we just want to have fun.
A cashier said last weekend was the busiest she had ever seen the orchard. Mark Rubin has been the director of the orchard for 13 years now.
There's probably a little less pumpkins than last year.
Less pumpkins, more expensive labor. Just a couple reasons for pumpkinflation.
Our fertilizer costs are much higher. Shipping.
More than half of their pumpkins are shipped in from Utah.
And they really had a hard time this year too.
Have you noticed a difference in these?
They're smaller as well.
Yeah.
And there's another one that's pink.
How much smaller would you say?
Oh, it's probably 20% smaller.
The price uptick is nationwide, but even higher in Las Vegas because of some of the extreme weather since the seeds were sown in July.
Came off of August where it was humid and cooler, and then in September it got really dry and really hot for I don't know how many days, it seemed like 10 days at least. And they just stressed out the pumpkins as a result of that, and so they had to hurry up and mature.
Back at the checkout line,
$41. Yeah, and I don't think that was so awful.
Everything's going on. It's crazy in the world right now, so it doesn't really surprise me.
A few dollars more, worth the gourd memories.
It's the experience, having the ability to go out into the field and actually pick a pumpkin.
I didn't have to go to school either, so I'm happy about it.
Thanks, Ophelia. Hey, did you buy a pumpkin for pumpkin season? This is mine. It's bigger than my head, but it doesn't compare to the pumpkins growing in one California community. People from across the country have gathered in Half Moon Bay for the World Championship Pumpkin Weigh-Off. Lena Howland reports.
From Judgment Day in Half Moon.
Pumpkin by pumpkin, lifted by a forklift and weighed, each one bigger than the last.
175. Oh, it's great. It's great. You never see anything like this, right? Except in Half Moon Bay.
Yeah, I always tell people back home, I'm like, it's the Super Bowl of pumpkins.
Travis Ginger drove his massive pumpkin 35 hours from Anoka, Minnesota, the Halloween capital of the world, to the pumpkin capital of the world.
This size, I mean, I've been hitting it with like fertilizer 14 times a day.
Holding the 2020 champion title for a pumpkin weighing in at 2,350 pounds, he's hoping lightning will strike twice.
They all said it was a once-in-a-lifetime type thing, and gosh, hopefully we can do it a two-in-a-lifetime thing.
But he's up against some heavy competitors.
It's estimating to be around 1,500 pounds.
Cindy Tobeck, the 2016 champion out of Washington, is back for more this year.
These take so much care, and they also take a lot of water, which I know is a challenge here in California. You know, I've got my own well at home, so unlimited free water is to my advantage over the California growers.
This third grade teacher says in her time away from the classroom, she's watering 150 gallons per plant per day. And it's the people of Half Moon Bay that keep her coming back every year.
The community of Half Moon Bay, their roots are in agriculture and pumpkin farming specifically. And they honor and love the pumpkin farmers. And I just feel that love.
Wow. Pumpkin spice lattes, pumpkin spice cookies, pumpkin spice cereal. Why is it in the fall we just can't get enough of the good stuff? Margaret Cavalier shares why we love everything pumpkin spice.
Don't mind me, I'm not really pigging out. I mean, pumpkins are vegetables or fruits or something healthy, right? Okay. So maybe pumpkin pie isn't the healthiest option, but why is it that when fall rolls around, I want to eat all the pumpkin spice flavored things? Turns out there's some science behind it. First, let's start with what exactly is a flavor. It's more than just how something tastes. Often just the smell of our favorite foods can get our mouth watering. Tiny food particles that you sniff in hit the smell receptors in your nose and tell your brain something tasty is on the way. Then, with just one bite, the taste buds on your tongue send even more information to your brain about what's going on. So, add aroma and taste together, and you get flavor. Some people even think there are other sensations that come into play, like temperature and mouthfeel, which is just what it sounds like, how something feels in your mouth. Taffy might be sticky, while potato chips are crunchy. Think about it. You probably wouldn't enjoy a crisp taffy or sticky chips. Ugh. With all of these links from flavor to the brain, it's also a big link with memory. Smells can get tied to happy and sad memories. Lucky for pumpkin spice, most fall memories are cozy and happy. So even the sniff of pumpkin pie can transport you back to last year's fun family Thanksgiving. Now, pumpkin spice is usually a blend of things like cinnamon and nutmeg, and sometimes it doesn't contain pumpkin at all. What makes the blend particularly addictive is the sugar in it. Sugar hits your brain like an exclamation point. The more you have, the more you want. And unfortunately, too much sugar is not good for you. So use a little restraint. Maybe just one bite? I mean, it's science, guys, I have to.
Thanks, Margaret. Okay, our poll this week will probably start a debate in your classroom, but we want to know, do you like pumpkin spice? Head online to choose between yes, PS, everything, or not for me. And for last week's poll, we did ask you this: what's your favorite art form? The results proved my suspicions that you are a very creative bunch. 28% of you said that you love sculptures. 23% like painting and looking at paintings. 19% are moved by music. 12% of you like writing, 10% voted for theater, and 8% like to express yourselves with dance. I think my favorite art form might maybe also be sculpture. That can cover anything from Michelangelo's masterpiece of David, made out of marble, to something a little more contemporary. Contemporary means something from our time, like the bright orange sticky residue that Cheetos leave on your fingertips. The Cheetos brand erected a giant 17-foot statue of a hand holding a massive Cheeto. The statue is in the Cheetle community of Alberta, Canada. Why there? Because Cheetle is actually what the Cheetos company calls its infamous cheesy fingertip dusting. The unique art piece will only be in Cheetle until the 4th of November. After that, it embarks on a Canadian tour to celebrate its cheesy goodness with other Cheeto fans. Now, let's pass the ball to Iowa, where a football player is making quite a name for himself, not because of his skills, but because of his determination. Scott Seville introduces us to Thad, a 7th grade football player without arms.
Thaddeus Longmire was born without arms, but that doesn't stop him from playing the game he loves.
Football is very fun and that stuff, being a tight end and blocking and feeling like a part of the team.
When Thad said he wanted to play tackle football for the Northwest Junior High 7th grade team, let's just say there were some doubters out there.
No one ever really said I couldn't do it. They just give me like looks and that stuff. That made me feel like that I should do it to prove I'm wrong.
It's not easy playing football without arms.
I feel like it's dangerous on depending the size of the guy I'm blocking.
When Thad gets knocked down, he gets right back up and works hard to get his body in front of defenders to make a block. Even though he knows he will never score a touchdown, he takes pride in his blocking.
Takes a lot of pride in seeing his teammates have that success. And he's a selfless person. He doesn't care if he scores the touchdown. He wants the team to get the touchdown.
So why play tight end? Because that's the position his favorite player plays.
George Kittle.
He tells us all the time that George Kittle's his favorite player, and he likes that George Kittle went to Northwest back when he was in junior high. So it's a good inspiration for him. It's a good inspiration for for his teammates.
Thad gets his inspiration from his amazing family. His sister Hannah is known as the Blade Runner, and she is one of the top runners in the country. Thad's mom, Lee, believes her children can do whatever they put their minds to.
Absolutely. We always tell our kids dream big and that we're there to support you the best that we can and help you to make those dreams come true.
Thank you, Scott. He's inspirational. Well, fans and spectators in Milwaukee filled the stands at Pewaukee High School for one football player. The homecoming and senior night game was extra special for her and everyone watching. Kayla Keys has more.
A packed house for Pewaukee's homecoming and senior night game. And one player, she's changing the game.
I've always called her my girl boss since day one.
Ava Mats under the Friday night lights and starting under center.
I know our boys at first were kind of like, you're playing football, but now I don't think they could see me anywhere else.
Head coach Justin Frisky says Mats is a leader on the team.
Ava's just Ava, and I think a lot of people are just like, well, that's what Ava does. And it's kind of a regular thing. And to be honest, that might be the most powerful thing of it, is that it's not a novelty and it's not some kind of fad that she's on the football team.
Mats blazing her own trail while inspiring others along the way.
Can't be prouder, love her to death. She'll remember this forever, and I'll remember this forever.
At first it was a little kind of like hard to kind of be like, where is my place? Do I get to speak up? Like, where is my role? And now being a senior, I realize my role is to speak up and to be included and, to help others find their place too.
So did you know that girls weren't always allowed to play sports in schools? It wasn't until 1972 when what we call Title IX was introduced. Mary Fecto explains how Title IX opened the door for females to compete in all sorts of sports and shares about Ohio's early female athletes, including Annie Oakley and our World War II softball team, all in this week's No Ohio.
Today, it's not unusual to see women and girls swinging, shooting, and kicking their way to victory, playing all kinds of sports. So it's probably hard to believe that there was a time when female athletes were discouraged from playing competitive sports. But some tenacious Ohio women push back against these norms just by doing the things they love. Annie Oakley, a sharpshooter from a rural community in western Ohio, shot down gender stereotypes when she became the world's most famous exhibition shooter, outperforming nearly every male competitor with her amazing trick shots. Other talented Ohio women found their calling during World War II. While men were overseas fighting, women filled the jobs they left behind, and that included professional baseball playing. Cincinnati native Dottie Kamenchek was playing softball in an informal league when she was scouted into the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League, and she quickly became one of its best players. The left-handed first baseman played 10 seasons for the Rockford Peaches and was considered one of the best athletes of her time. These early women athletes proved that women were as fierce competitors as men, but female athletes weren't really given a shot until 1972, when President Richard Nixon signed a federal law that prohibited discrimination on the basis of gender in public school activities. Title IX, as it was called, meant that schools had to give the same time and attention to girls' sports as they do to boys. And this was a game changer for female athletes all around the country. Women athletes like Ohio State's track and field star Stephanie Hightower achieved greatness, remaining undefeated for 3 years in the 60-meter dash and hurdles. And Clarksburg, Ohio native Cindy Noble, who played college basketball, took her talents all the way to the Olympics. Ohio has produced some seriously fierce female athletes, and new ones are scoring points all the time. But when you're celebrating on the court, rink, or field, remember the women whose greatest victory was achieving equality off of it.
Thanks, Mary. Hey, those last few stories, they've inspired our write to us this week. We want to know, who do you find inspiring? I can't wait to read your letters because you guys have been doing a great job with your answers lately. Last week, we asked you send us doodle of something new you learned. Let's check them out by opening up our inbox. Faith from Olmsted Falls Intermediate School in Olmsted Falls, Ohio, got some hands-on learning. Dear NewsDepth, this week I learned about science tools and how to use them in science and social studies class, and we got to use some of them. Some of these tools are pan balance, graduated cylinder, measuring stick, measuring tape, dropper, forceps, spring scale, measuring cup, measuring spoons, thermometer, hand lens, microscope, and triple balance beam scale. Wow, that's a lot of tools. Seth from William Bruce Elementary in Eaton sent us this doodle, and he says, I learned that love is important because you need to love and take care for other people. If you want to have other people love and take care for you, if you fall or something else, but if you're not nice to people, they will probably not help you, unless the person is super nice. So be nice to people like how you want to be treated. Hadley from Freedom Elementary in Westchester sent us this diagram of the Earth. Dear NewsDepth, this week in science, we learned about the Earth and its layers, so I doodled it. I love to draw and doodle. This is why I doodled the Earth. Pascal from Fayetteville Middle School in Fayetteville learned a new song. This week, I learned a lot of new notes on my trombone. The notes I currently know are F first position, E flat third position, D fourth position, C sixth position, and B flat first position. Thanks to the new notes I've learned, I can play the Star Wars theme song. Good job, Pascal. May the force be with you. And Brielle from Maryland Elementary in Bexley was definitely paying attention to the episode last week. Here is my picture. I did my best. I made a picture of Hurricane Ian because I watched the episode and I wanted to draw a hurricane. Hey, great work on those letters, just like the great work from this week's A+ winners. Imagine, it's the first day of school and there's a powerful thunderstorm rolling through your town and boom, all of a sudden lightning strikes and sends you back to 1985. The only way you could get back to good old 2022 was to collaborate with your classmates to solve puzzles using your science, technology, engineering, art, and math skills. Well, the 5th grade students in Mrs. Turbin's class at Chamberlain Hill Elementary in Findlay had that exact experience. Their outstanding teamwork and problem solving earned them this week's A+ award. In order to hit the ground running, or learning, the students spent the first few days of the school year showing off their ability to solve problems. Caroline told us that they had to solve puzzles and challenges by relying on each other. She explained that a big key to being successful is by showing perseverance. Perseverance is doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. Elliot told us that one of the puzzles required them to research facts about 1985, including popular music, the space shuttles, and historical events. They even had to figure out the day of the week that the events happened on. She told us that it was a bit challenging because they had to remember they were in 1985 and not 2022. It wasn't all history, though. Lincoln told us that there were even challenges that required them to mix different colors to solve the puzzle. Brenna told us that there was a lot of math as well. They had to measure the distances between buildings and calculate the cost of mailing a letter back in 1985. The students we spoke with told us that it was really important to be able to work as a team and to trust each other's ideas. Brenna went on to tell us that one of the biggest lessons she learned was that it's very important to believe in yourself, and you have nothing to lose by always doing your best. Very wise words, Brenna. Well, this week's A+ award goes to the 5th grade STEAM class at Chamberlain Hill Elementary School for using their problem-solving skills and teamwork to get back to good old 2022 after being sent back to 1985. Okay, I think we've given Newscat enough time to find us an animal story. Let's see what she has for this week's Petting Zoo. Just as I suspected, napping on the job. That's not a brain break. There we go, get up. That's better. Oh wow, she found a story about a 90-year-old tortoise named Rocket that has a reputation as an escape artist. To check out the enclosure that's finally been able to contain this massive reptile, just click the Petting Zoo button on our website. Thank you, Newscat. Well, that's going to do it for us. But as always, we do want to hear from you, and there are plenty of ways to stay in touch with us. You can write to us. We're at 1375 Euclid Avenue. That's Cleveland, Ohio. Our zip code here, 44115. You can email us at newsdepth@ideastream.org, or you can tweet us. Our handle is @NewsDepthOhio. Plus, you can catch all of our special segments on YouTube. If you're old enough, hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our new videos. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rick Jackson. We'll see you right back here next week.
NewsDepth is made possible by a grant from the Martha Holden Jennings Foundation.